Thanks a lot, Santosh. That was a great introduction. Thank you for that. And thank you, Vasuji, for that very interesting, start to this AI conference. I feel that, I think I'll have my job here at the end of the day. I think you'll see me again, probably next year. And then I hope I don't have a robo version of myself here, and we can be that relevant. So, taking on from that one slide, which was very poignant, your hype to impact as the sum and substance, if there's one takeaway, is the hype to impact slide which you showed. So, and that's kind of where we are also what we are trying to decode today as individuals, right? So AI has really gone from hype to reality in the last 24 months. So, as an icebreaker question for this panel discussion, and as business leaders in your own spheres, what does unlocking the future of AI mean to you and mean to the industry which you work? And for this, we can start with Advait. As we know, he's been in the smart cities and projects area. So over to you, Raj.
Thanks for having me here. Usually, Karthik, sometimes I'm at this side, and today I'm on this side. So thanks. So, a very valid question, and what I would like to, I'll abstract going to two different views. One which was like 6 years back, and something which happened like 6 days back. 6 years back, this is a scenario one which was in Berkeley, big Berkeley Innovation Lab, where, I was lucky enough to study 9 different data AI policies for 9 different countries. And I finished it was a tedious task. I went through the details and all that. And at Berkeley, there are usually, you see speakers coming up like Saab Antman or other guys who are actually building up the core thing in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area. So you get the first-hand information and what you're learning. And once I finish all the pre-research things, after knowing all the AI policies and data things 6 years back, I got a preview like what is coming next in next 3 to 4 years. That circles back to your question, how we are in the economy. And after all this happened, when I was actually looking into it, the professor said, I think, take the best out of it and apply to the state of California and see how we can improve it. And I was like, we studied like 9 different AI policies from the world, and it's shaping up in a different way. And this was for the State Department of, so it was not in the federal, but at the state. We applied, I did whether with us. It was not into I would say, any process optimization, automation, nothing, but it was about the ethics, the governance, the other areas which actually needs to be working on. And I was thinking how now this is gonna get applied to the industries. But the preliminary work which was happening like 6 years, 8 years back, they were building up the policies to make sure when the industries, not I'm talking about the big industries, but even the small scale, medium industries and below that, how it's getting applied. So I got that started. Scenario number 2, this is the one which happened 6 days back now. And it's a different thing. Since you mentioned about the household before the opening, I'll just give you a household thing. It was normal. Last Saturday, I was with my kid, and afternoon I asked him, did you finish your lunch? He didn't answer anything. And I asked him like a parental mode, and did you finish your lunch? He said, nitrogen monoxide, 2 times. And I thought he must be seeing some YouTube videos or something. That's fine. After 2 hours, I was looking again, like he was playing a game, and did you finish your lunch or are you still playing the game? He said nitrogen monoxide. And I was like, then I said in Marathi, Jeevan Dhala ka? Like that, And I got think he answered me the same thing. I said, why is he answering me in this way? That circle back to the point, you know. He said, look at this, Papa. I asked the chat GPT how to say nicely in a scientific way no to your father. So if you check now, the chemical formula for nitrogen oxide is NO. And I was like, what happened to his intellectual independence? Why is he relying on that? To be honest, it was not his mistake. He was curious. He was curious to get that. But think, and in parallel, his Arctic school, there was a science week happening. Okay, so he's actually intersecting those thoughts process in that. So the natural curiosity was there, but the creativity multiplied with the Gen AI. You know, so just to circle back, Karthik, if you ask me if you had to unlock the future of AI, I think the future of unlock is already unlocked. I think you have to tap on a different ways. And kids like my son or different people who you have, they don't know who is driving the engines behind, but how ethically you are using it, it's very important. Right? So the consumer adoption of the Gen AI has been skyrocketed. It will multiply 10x more in the next 2 years. That's what I think.
I think that's a great start. We are clearly going towards the reality bit of Gen AI. Rohan bhai, from your angle, what does it look to you in terms of the future of AI? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your business?
Right. So I think just to continue on two rules, starting from Vasu and Advait, whether it's a hype, I think we are beyond that curve. It's no more a hype.
Yeah.
It's getting there where all of us have to sort of get educated on this front and use it to our benefit. So having said that, 3 years back, we said let's start MetaVolve, because everyone's just talking about digitalization and automation. And 3 decades prior to that, we've put a lot of enterprise systems in place for a lot of people and stuff. So the point came back there, instead of losing our jobs, just better get out and sell the technology, build something on this, save our jobs, and make it easy for others. So the point of getting back and away from tools, right? So we said, let's get back into creating the solutions, make it easy for consumers, and that's how we started our set of AI solutions. And we said, where are these use cases, right? So for our industry, we stepped out and we said, let's do customer onboarding very differently. Bring in, the intelligence in pockets and packets, and say do a KYC for the bankers, for their customers, make it easy, get it automated, get all the mundane jobs, and that's how AI came into stuff for us on that part of the solution, right? Vasu also mentioned about AI plus human combination. So there we got into the translation business. So if you see, enterprises and large corporates have got legal departments. I used to go crazy in the consulting days where you used to get contracts from our friends, right, in Arabic, French, and all of this. And our legal bunch used to take good number of weeks to come back and say A, B, C, D, and then up and down and stuff like that. Now it's like 200 odd languages in microseconds. Make a choice, look at it, and then use humans to, correct the dialects and do and stuff like this. So there are quite a few on this front, a lot more. And we said, yeah, get into, point solutions, get the solutions, get the use cases out, and that's what we do at MetaVolve.
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Pratik, what would be your view here?
Right. I think I would like to also mention that after Vasuji's session, we were just talking amongst ourselves as panelists. Maybe this panel wasn't even required because he covered most of the topics, as a matter of fact. But where I come from in the cloud world, AI isn't a hype. We personally feel it's a new way of creating value in the market. The industry that I personally manage is the media and entertainment industry, which is basically the OTT platforms and the various media firms that we have heard about, like Netflix, Amazon, to name a few. They are heavily investing today in AI recommendation engines, right? These recommendation engines are nothing but a black box that are basically deciding you as a user and giving you content based on your likes and dislikes. Has been incorporated in every aspect today of our daily lives, and you might not even notice it where actually it's being applied. For example, when we go home today and we switch on our televisions and we watch particular content, the next time you turn on that television, it's going to recommend you similar content. How does that happen? AI recommendation engine. Hyper-scaling solutions today are all driven by AI, and you might not even notice that, right? So, what Mr. Master mentioned, and obviously my panelist here as well, the sooner we absorb this and the sooner we accept it, the better it is for us and for the future. If we don't become the pioneers in AI, the future is going to have a difficult time, right? And that's basically what I feel. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Prashant?
Yeah, similar thoughts. I think it's here. Whether you take ride-hailing, grocery delivery, there's drone-based technologies coming in. So it's not the future, it's the present. And the second area which we'll dwell on later is skills. I don't mean to scare anyone, but if you don't understand AI, machine learning, you don't have too much of a future, either as a student or as a professional. And AI is a great leveler when it comes to SME, because with the use of operational expenditure, you can scale up your business without hiring an army of people. So I think you should use that as an opportunity rather than look at it as a threat. That's my view.
That's great, Prashant. And in fact, I'll start the second question from you. I've been in the tech industry for some time now, and with every wave of technology, we see that one of the big gaps has been in implementation, right? We all talk big things, great ideas come, but by the time it really gets implemented, it goes on to the common enterprise, kind of falls flat. So, what do you see as one of the key problems for business partnership with IT for implementation? What are those, what do I call, practical obstacle points, which are very local to Middle East Africa, local to all these ladies and gentlemen who are sitting here, and how do you kind of overcome all these problems? What's your take on that?
Yeah, great question. So I think it's a very valid question, whether it's in the Middle East or even overseas. MIT did a study and said 92% of AI projects have failed. One of the big reasons in this region is a complete disconnect between business and IT. Often IT embarks on an AI project because the CEO has it as one of his KPIs. He had his coach from Harvard tell him that, oh, if you're not doing an AI project, you're nowhere. And when he goes to a party among his peers, he has nothing to talk about. So that should not be the reason to embark on an AI project. It should be either to grow your business, to cut cost, or to really rapidly enter a new line of business which you can't without technology. So often enough, that is not well thought through between business and IT. Today, in terms of IT, the ability to use operational expenditure and expand your business instantly is there. So media, banking, even government services, there's no excuse today from a technology availability point of view. The biggest problem is, one is what I mentioned earlier, the second is skill. You do not have skill up of your own existing workforce to handle a project of this sort. So even if you're doing something simplistic, like check presentment, when it sounds very simple. On 4th October, we are launching a 4-hour settlement window in banks in India.
Right.
And there's a lot of use of AI there as well.
Correct.
The question is, why wasn't this done 10 years back?
20 years.
It should have happened earlier. Today, with the use of technology, theoretically speaking, there should not be traffic chokes in most major metros in the world. So the problem is the lack of alignment between the two. And the way to get around this is to make AI as the heart of your strategy. So AI should not be a tool, a cloud provider's technology to scale your business. It should be fundamental. The big framework that was spoken about previously, that is what every organization has got to embrace, innovation. It's really, really important. And sad to say, a lot of people don't use it that way. They just use it like, like a shiny toy I've just bought, and I need to get something done, so I get a tick from the CEO.
This is a very, very, very valid point which Prashant has said, and Advait, you've been a part of a big global monolith. Yeah, he's been speaking about what Prashant was talking about is like this big gap between business and IT and skills, right? And that could be a local framework. Now, if I globalize that, and from your perspective, what do you think is the challenge? I mean, that should not be a challenge in your organization or all in the projects which you're doing, right? I mean, it kind of gets balanced because you've already answered the skills problem because of the global nature.
Thank you for your question, and I agree with what Prashant mentioned. So if you see AI is something, so they actually build up the e-commerce platform, which actually also holds the different sets of data, which is part of it. But what Amazon has done differently is that they gone into different countries to build and collect their national data. Now, that's where the frameworks and policies comes up. But when you talk about the small challenges and other areas, and for the SMEs, or forget about the giga projects what we are delivering in Saudi Arabia, So for example, the project what is in Riyadh, something called King Abdullah Financial District, CAFT. It is as equivalent to the DIFC in Riyadh at the central city. And it took us 7 years to make the CAFT the first largest LEED certified complete community to build that, and it was environmental driven. So you can see the amount of data which we wanted. So neither of them actually can't do it, but it took like 7 years to do that, right? So the circling back on that, if you look at the consumer adoption, which everyone is now after 22nd November 2023, it's in everyone's hand. But if you look at the AI thread between the different industries and between the SME industries, my first suggestion will be, don't think AI across your organization. Think AI rather in a function-wise or department-wise within your organization. This is very important, because if you think in that vortex of the winds, you will actually blow away. So apply the AI only that particular functions and departments.
Rohan, you are on the other side of the spectrum as far as these guys are, from my point of view, right? I mean, you're looking at small, nimble-footed AI rollouts in the market. Do you also see this as a key problem where you are seeing business partnership with IT breaking off? What's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we are quite agnostic. So we've got, your scale is very big because you're talking smart cities and, so the folks powering you guys up. Absolutely clear. You would have heard this, right? I mean, if there are bankers around here and, similar industries, insurance and so on. When I sit at the C levels and call out as to, their motives, nothing to do with AI, but just talk about what their pain areas are, and stuff. They always say our competition does this. So we need to be there. Now this is what comes at a C level. And then when you actually go down, the business says something else, and then IT looks at it really like a tool, right? So our job then is to converge this entire thing and bring this. You don't call it a framework, but you put that entire exercise in and tell them, guys, business needs to talk sense first. Business needs to take responsibility and drive their requirement. If you have defined your need, your job is almost done. And then you articulate it to the enablers, which are the technologists. To get it done, they will get a way, to have this in place. So, most of the places, it's so common, take the retail industry, take the telcos, take, large enterprises, mid-sector, all these guys. It's always a dump story. Yeah. Business needs to take responsibility, business needs to drive the initiative. And you will get your automation and your AI and what have you all in place. So, this is what I basically have to say. Did I answer that?
No, I think you gave it a very poignant answer from your point of view. Pratik bhai, what is your take coming from a very similar kind of area?
I would like to answer this in a way of where the problems lie. After working with so many companies today that adopted cloud and AI to an extent as well, the problem lies in two aspects. One of them is basically in terms of data silos and quality. Today, many entities have their data unstructured, structured, lying in legacy applications, not really in a centralized data. Going back to what Prashant said as well, the disconnect between business and IT is so much so that the IT thinks that he needs to bring in some AI technology, but the business thinks, no, I prefer how things are at the moment. Second aspect is what I like to call the POC trap, right? After working in an SI as my first job, and then working at Oracle and then today at Huawei, we noticed that when a partner or a third party gets involved in a particular project, they tend to tell the customer or tell the client that, listen, we can fulfill your requirement by offering you some AI-based solutions. But then the customer gets trapped in the whole aspect of doing a POC without realizing that his own environment is a mix of legacy, new, standalone applications that somewhere or the other will not fit that aspect of doing a POC on AI or a cloud. So the problem lies within the organization that if they decide to take AI as their aspect of delivering to their end users, they first need to look within and then look ahead.
Fantastic, thank you. I mean, that raises a very interesting point, and you talked about POCs and how that is, getting connected to everyday enterprise, life. So if I kind of extrapolate this to large scale complex projects, because that's the starting point. You have been involved with as in the smart cities rollout, and which is one of the largest, the biggest test beds for AI. So what are those lessons which you have learned from these complex project rollouts, which can be applied for the average SME in the room here today?
Thank you. I don't know if I can say nitrogen monoxide on
Yeah.
this. Okay, but if you're seeing this, I think I'll answer this in maybe two. The number one is the unbiased data. This is one of the biggest challenge because your model, your AI cannot be accurate unless it's really learning something. So your data must be really very qualitative to bring the expected output. Definitely you can actually spend more time on that. But this is number one. Second is the transparency on the infrastructure requirement, because I was at NVIDIA delegation last week, and AI is just being celebrated in these companies, but we had to understand it's not something we have to celebrate or join their celebration.
Correct.
Right? You as an industry holder, you as a SME, you had to draw a very distinction line and see where exactly the use case are getting applicable for me. So the applicability of AI should be very relevant to the industry what you are into. Healthcare, banking, insurance, education, you name it, right? If you talk me from the smart cities perspective, what are the lessons learned? Biased data and the infrastructure transparency.
Lovely. So, Rohan, when you take this, and you touched about it when you were speaking the previous question, and you talked about models, right? And he's talking about the same kind of models which you're building on. So if you use models, what is your idea about models which you can use in the execution of AI? I mean, I have some, we all are, Vasuji talked about a subscription-based model, somewhere in his discussion. What would it be for you?
So, our mantra basically is try to help the entire consumer community, right, from this AI thunderbolt. So, move, from a tool perspective, using AI tools down to business models, okay? Left alone the technical model stuff, so I'll just stick to the business models. So organizations are different, large, heavy industries, middle industries, whatever we call them, right? So idea is to get to the goal. Like I said, once you define what your problem area is and your need, most of your problem is done, right? So there are a few models. One of them is called the outcome model, right? So you have a provider or you have your IT enablement bunch internally and basically need to manage cost based on this, right? So you say this is my outcome. Now I am interested in improving my customer service, right? I need to onboard a customer. These guys could be from real estate or banking or any of these sectors. I need to get my customer on board very quickly. And the process there is all about KYC, screening, minor crime screening, all of this. So just get it attached down to the providers. You connect your CRM systems, your core banking systems down to these ready applications that are provided. A lot of providers are there in the market now. They've really gone over the maturity curve. Talk about a need, small or big, the guys already have package solutions using the technology that these gentlemen provide us with. So all these things are there. You do a KYC, give a result, approved, not approved, in microseconds. Today, most of the banks, right, some popular banks, you can get a credit card within 2 minutes. All that you need is your ACB records that are clean. You don't even know you're getting connected within seconds, right? You open up, you download an app, show your face. It's actually doing a liveness check of your reality, right? That you're not a robot and all that. And while that is happening, you ask for showing your Emirates ID or any document. Moment you show, it digitalizes fraction of seconds. And there's a check done and comes back. And if you get your credit card within 2 minutes, and that's the KPI set for business. So go outcome based, providers are there. This is what you need to do. I need to improve my client base, get them as a customer within 2 minutes. Yeah. Today, if you step into McDonald's, KFC, they don't want to have you near the counter for more than a minute. That's their KPI. Okay? You see the technology that happens. They've brought in an app. They want to push most of the people through the drive-through. As soon as your vehicle just goes there, there's a sensor that actually kicks in your history. It's beyond, a normal human being to keep doing this, right? So you are adding artificial intelligence to the real human intelligence and saying, how are you sorting out this problem? And not getting you out of the job, right? So you are bringing in operational efficiency. That's outcome-based, right? Then there are other providers. Forget about the consumer side, the customer side. The providers who actually develop solutions. So these guys come on, AI as a service. This is another model. DAS, which is database, data as a service. So when you combine these two, you need to solve a basic problem there. So these are provided. There are a lot of applications. Today, there's a lot of, you may be familiar with core banking systems out there. Oracle, ERPs. Look at what happens with large corporates. There are 4 updates on cloud applications that happen at least in a year. How are you going to test it and release it? Is the business going to wait? The guys manually take more than 4, 5, 6 weeks. Now, with AI, automated testing, these areas we are able to help these people go live within few days.
This really, I mean, combining both the points which both you gentlemen said, it really comes down to saying that whilst there is a lot of data, there is also a need for a lot of tech stuff underneath that. I mean, call it foundational data or data foundations.
Yeah.
Prashant, you are an expert in the data foundations area. So, how, from your point of view, SMEs often have the data, but they don't have the right foundations. How do you go from these fragmented spreadsheets to an AI-ready enterprise? What's your take?
Yeah, I think the first step is to probably aggregate what you have. So if most of your data is sitting in Office 365, it's easy. You can get everything into a couple of folders and get it input into an AI engine and then start asking those questions that you want solved. So if you're a rice exporter to somewhere in Africa and you want to get a full market entry view of how you do that, around tariffs, around export procedures, it's dead easy. Whereas if you want to set all of these things together, you need a proper data governance setup. Now, you don't need to install anything in your office. You don't need to buy hardware. You don't need to buy anything. There are solutions available on the cloud that you click, hand your credit card, and it sets it up for you. So your data, somebody's infrastructure, somebody's data governance. So you will have clean data, which you will always have control over. So even if your employees are leaving, they will not be able to take that data from you because you will have eyes on it all the time. It will be blessed by the local regulatory authorities. So you don't have to worry about that process as well. So whatever be the kind of business that you have technology available locally, which you can deploy within 1 hour and have data governance, all of your data in one place in a repository, and you can use it for any AI use case that you want to deploy. So stop fretting about mera data chori ho jayega. This does not happen anymore. In fact, if you have it inside your office, the chances are somebody will take your data out. Yeah. And frankly, why do you want to own hardware and software? There's no need. Why do you want to buy a car when you can lease it and get benefit out of it? If I don't like A, I go to B. If I don't like B, I go to C. My data still stays with me. So I have choice. So I think that's a much better way of doing it than building this big project, getting a couple of friends' recommendations of what consultant to hire, pay hundreds of thousands to that consultant. He'll get his friends from the IT industry and loot you for the next 3 years. So there's no point doing that. Everything's put in place. Use it today. Let's not be hesitant anymore. Because frankly, if you don't, your competitor will.
Somebody else.
For sure.
So he touched upon a very interesting point that we have to, why do you want to capex everything or on-prem everything? I understand that by saying, why don't you really go onto the cloud and you leverage upon the cloud? Cloud, we all know, is the backbone of AI. So, but along with that, it's, in this whole world of sovereignty and concerns, compliance, cost pressures, etc. How do you think that SMEs can make a cloud AI strategy? What would be your take?
I think before that, I'll say I wish every customer was like you. To be honest, but yes, going back to what you were saying, Karthik. So, in today's day and age, it's very important for us to understand that yes, data sovereignty, compliance, all of these things have a huge impact on how organizations function. But it's very important to understand that cloud companies today are offering solutions that are catering to the customer's needs. In the SME industry, what are the various aspects in which customers are looking at today, right? They're looking at, okay, if I want to incorporate AI into my own organization, I can talk to OpenAI, or I can talk to DeepSeek as an example, or I can deploy a low language model, like how Huawei has a Pango model that they're offering that can convert this entire conversation for speech to text live, as a matter of fact. The answer is no. You should start small. Start with smaller use cases, right? Start with bringing some kind of automation into your organization. I'll give you an example. There's a company that I work with, they're also in the media industry. They have 100 coders in their organization. Now, what were they missing? They were missing timely rollout of updates and upgrades. What they did was, they purchased an AI tool, a very simple online purchase, click as what Prashant mentioned, put your credit card, purchase licenses, $20 per license as an example. What that tool does, it reviews your code, tells you where the error is, and gives you the output. A job that would have taken that particular developer or coder maybe 5-6 hours in 2 minutes. It was absolutely amazing to see it live that this particular company was able to roll out their application and their updates within minutes. And updates were not happening during non-business hours. They were doing it live in front of our eyes. So this is how AI is empowering our customers today, right? And with the help of cloud vendors, not just Huawei, but any other cloud vendor today, depending on the environment that the customer has, it is actually doing a lot of things. Yeah.
So he spoke about this use case where what the developer is doing for 6 hours gets done in a few minutes. So that brings another dimension to this whole thing. How do you really balance efficiency and say trust? Because when you're talking about AI, you're talking about so many subsystems, you're talking about trust. What would be your how would you look at that?
I think by the time we finish this panel, there will be like 10 mobile apps will be built by AI. I can tell you this. So that's the speed of the AI, what is happening. But you mentioned about the trust, and how actually I made it. So I completely agree what mentioned. But I'll give you a very good use case since I'm responsible for global airports. One airport, let's say in Munich, which takes, once the aircraft lands, and as a passenger to reach into that baggage carousel, it takes 37 minutes. This is one. Second, I'll give the example of 5 weeks back, which is at the Dubai airports. If your aircraft lands, you at your baggage carousel between 9 minutes or 11 minutes. Two things, because why? You're trusting the systems. The people who are there, they are ethically governing your full process, automated. You just pass the gate, you don't even need to get there. I mean, I'm very sure who have been here in Dubai must have tried the smart gates. 9 minutes. So it's optimized and it's trusted. That's what I would say.
When you talk about trust, and you gave us these 2 use cases in my mind here. Use cases about the carousel, use cases about smart gates, etc. Pratik, what are the different use cases you can think of, especially when you want to scale in the Middle East? What kind of use cases do you?
Right. So the use cases that I frequently I'm dwelling with our customers, one of them is what Mr. Masu also mentioned, conversational AI, or what we call as AI agents, right? These AI agents are basically, in a way, replacing your call center, or in a way, answering your end customers' doubts or queries on the go. So I'll give you an example. So there's an OTT player that I'm currently working with that has few aspects. They have transactional video on demand, they have advertising video on demand, or they have, say, for example, live sports. So this particular user was on their platform wondering whether he should go to purchase a transactional VOD, basically renting or purchasing videos or movies, or then going and watching their television series, or then purchasing live sports. That AI agent was able to ask certain questions to be able to lead that customer into purchasing the max pack. Now, what is the max pack? That max pack is basically the highest pack that OTT player has today. So that's how the AI agent is able to bring in customer retention, manage subscribers. The second aspect is basically the AI recommendation engine. a black box that, as I mentioned earlier, depending on the number of clicks, is actually able to decide what you like or what you dislike, and on that basis is able to manage your users and subscribers and keeping them on the platform. Because what happens is, if you keep those users on the platform, you can monetize them. And monetizing is where the money comes from, bringing advertisements, bringing partnerships, bringing funding. So all of these aspects are actually catering to the business and allowing them to be able to grow in this part of the world.
Lovely. So there are so many, Prashant, there are so many use cases which he spoke about. So obviously there's a lot of potential you can see. So are there any challenges in the implications? From your point of view, what would be those guardrails which you need to put to ensure successful outcomes like the way he's talking about?
Look, the very first thing is it should either be focal to your strategy or it should be solving some problem for you. Otherwise, it is a waste of time. So that should be the most critical piece of your project. Second part is local regulation. You cannot, go about deploying technologies which are not blessed or approved from a local data protection or from an implementation point of view, because you don't want to announce an AI project and go to jail. I don't think that's the idea for having the AI project. And the third area is the guardrail around internal skilling up. Because for yourself as a business owner or a CXO in the organization, you need to have at least a good handle. You need to have that vitamin C that he spoke of. You need to have that curiosity to understand what is it that you're actually doing with that technology. Because if you don't have that sense, someone will take you for a ride. Because that is the nature of how technology deals typically with small business. I'm sorry to say that, but this is what ends up happening. The friend of the CEO comes in as a consultant and makes a royal mess of the entire project. So just have a good handle. Go and see. If the technology provider is selling you something, don't believe a word of what they're saying. Ask them to take you to another place where they've done the same thing. Remove the technology provider from the room, sit and talk to the business owner. Ask them what their experience has been. This is the best thing to do. If you do these, your project will have a 80% or greater chance of success. May still fail because you may have employees who haven't skilled up. So they don't know how to use the damn thing, it's going to fail. So skill up, stay within the regulatory guardrails, do your due diligence with other customers, and it should not be an emotive decision based on friends and family. It should be something that is core to your strategy.
Lovely. I mean, extremely candid answer. Thank you so much for that, Prashant. We're almost towards the end of the program. The lovely ladies there are staring at me saying that you have to, you have to come to a close. You can't keep, speaking. But you touched upon a very touchy point, which is skills. Yeah, and all of us here are all talking about skills. And that seems to be the big question when either we become redundant or not because of skilling. So if I take skilling and I come and I start with, we'll just be really quick here. What skills, that's technical and non-technical skills, should professionals prioritize to remain relevant in this world? I mean, I'm just trying to dissect upon what Vasuji just talked about with some very specific skills. Very quickly.
Intellectual curiosity and intellectual independence should not be you. I think this should stick with you, but along with that, you should continue learning the AI models. That's it.
The earning models. Prashant, what should be the skills in tech and non-tech skills? And more to do, we are all having now next gen coming in, our children, etc. What should be the stuff which those guys should be learning about?
Yeah. So some of what you saw in the previous presentation, I think that those concepts, at least the basics of what each one of those technologies are should be clear so that you understand what is needed in your business. So that's really important. You may laugh, you may say, oh God, I've lost my hair, I'm graying, and now suddenly you want me to know all these things? Yes, you have to know it. Because if you don't, there's somebody else learning it and they will bulldoze your entire business down. So whether you're a diamond merchant sitting in gold soup, you may have to worry also about what's happening with the lab-grown diamonds. That's another problem. But you need to know some of this as well because this impacts your pricing. This impacts your supply chain. It also impacts how you handle your people, right? So all of these things The basic concepts you need to know. Second, your technical team needs reskilling. They are not a break fix for you. Stop treating your IT people like car mechanics. They are not meant for that anymore. If you have guys like that, you will get cheaper people off the street in Computer Plaza. Go use them. Use your IT people for implementing your core strategy. The time for buying hardware, do those things, mera raat ko server down ho gaya, please, that is all over. Don't look at it that way. Go get people from the market who have implemented either a machine learning project, implemented a rules-based process automation project. Even if it is one person, bring that person. Let them understand your business and see how they can add value to your business. And thirdly, if you're a small business owner and you have generational talent coming in from your kids, get them into some program. Put them into at least a 3-month program either here or in India. I can give you some recommendations later. There's multiple free courses available from cloud providers. There's also paid courseware available online. Please do it. This is mandatory. If you're a chartered accountant, doctor, lawyer, anything, you need to know these things. You will become redundant if you don't. If the doctor is cutting somebody's stomach open to get a hernia repair done using those robotic arms, believe me, there will come a time, not in the distant future, when those things will be automated. So please learn those things. So if you do these 3-4 things, you at least started on the path. So I would advise all of these things. Do not ignore this because things are changing very rapidly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Prashant. That was very, very insightful. Now the ladies are going to cut off power. It's going to be automatic. So to the one last takeaway for the audience here, just one sentence. 6:30 is going to be power off. We are all moving to a very automated world. So we're borrowing some time from the bots. So what would be that one sentence?
Apply AI not to your full organization, but to a specific function and department.
Fantastic. Very good.
You got used to your iPhone, so I think look at it that way and try and get into that learning and adaptation in some way or the other.
Thank you.
AI should not be an add-on or a side project. It should be an area of focus to look at productivity and growth.
Please go enroll for an AI course and do it on the weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for her.